Okay, sorry about
What's up,
that.
everyone? Welcome to Playing in the Stars. It's me and Vet tonight for now, and we should have more people on board. Dylan is running a bit late, had some stuff to
Oh,
do,
there we go.
and Brian might be on. But how's it going, everyone?
Woo! Not many
Uh,
people in the chat right now, but that's okay. That we know how YouTube is. They trickle in at the last minute. It's
that'll happen. Notifications going out. So,
oh yeah.
big week for PlayStation
Oh
and other
yeah.
platforms. A lot of stuff going on.
A lot of
Uh,
gaming news
yeah, so
overall.
we're gonna have some stuff to chat about, but first, how you doing, Vet?
I'm doing good. I finally got rid of the old broken, nasty brace or sleeve thing that the VA gave me initially because it was gross, falling apart, and now I've got a power sleeve. Well, it's just a copper infused sleeve, but I told my 5-year-old that this is a power sleeve, so it gives me extra power. And now then I said, so now that I've got the power sleeve, I need a power glove. And he's like, "What's that?" So I had to show him what the power glove was, like the OG power glove,
Yeah,
not
to go the old
these
stuff.
alleged new ones that I've seen sprinkling around the internet. But I showed him the old school one, and he wants that. And I'm like, dude, if I can find one, we're buying it. I don't care what your mom says.
Speaking of, I'll try to find it, but there is a patent currently that was renewed at PlayStation. They're actually working on some gloves similar to that.
That power glove was such a fixture, I guess, in gaming in the history of gaming because I mean, one, you knew it was Nintendo, but they had the advertising around it was just fantastic. You had the TV shows, the cartoon shows based just on the glove because I remember watching what was it called, Captain N or something like that, and I don't remember what else it was tied to. But I used to watch it. My kid and Minivet and I've watched it before, but it's one of those iconic things that Nintendo came up with that I think it was ahead of its time. I think if Nintendo had done it now, it would have been a better success. But I think it was just too advanced. It's kind of like the Dreamcast ahead of its time, and there's certain gaming things. The VMU from the Dreamcast was way too advanced for gamers at that era,
Yeah.
and the same thing applies with the glove. Although I still will buy one if I can find it. If I can find an adapter to have it work with my PC and Mac, I would.
Hey, by the way, we got Run Slasher in the chat. What's up?
Oh
Stadia games are
snap!
coming to PS5. Oh yeah, they're coming in hot. So this here is a patent that was this was shared by Zubitech. I get a lot of stuff from that guy. He's always on the lookout for any patent or stuff coming out of PlayStation. A really interesting source of information. And he actually found a patent for wearable controller for video games for control comprising a garment, contact pads detachable, secured to the garment via connectors, and a programmable central controller. So that
it
thing would
you look
be,
at you look at it though, it doesn't look like what the power glove looks like. I swear to God, it looks like something you would see from either Iron Man or the Infinity Glove. I'm like, dude, if it could get like just if you minus the one, if you could just get four different like stones, but have them the triangle, square, circle, and X. Oh my God, that would be fantastic. And have them in that circle, so the triangle at the top, and then just sell it that way. You could, people would buy that thing like crazy. Especially if you could market it around, like work some kind of deal with Marvel and tie it in with that with the whole Avengers thing. They should have done it when the Avengers was still hot, like because it's we know Avengers is kind of fallen down some,
yeah, it's,
but yeah, it'll get there.
I'll get there. That
I
that my
want it. I
guess
still
will
have to get the
be,
VR head. I still got to get the VR headset.
yeah, eventually I'll get it.
My
It's,
wife has basically said that I could probably get it, especially since I'm actually making money now on YouTube. Now that
ooh.
we consider me full time. That I eventually, once we're settled in like school time range, maybe for Christmas I might be able to get one, which would work because I'm betting it'll be on sale and we hopefully will have more VR games at that point.
Just looking at something. Uh, well, first, just to continue around, what game have you been playing this week?
Um, I haven't really over since I just got back to the the normal weekly stream stuff this week. The only thing I did an afternoon of wildflowers, which is it's like a late it's kind of like a farming simulator but with witches. But the difference with this, and it's available on Steam, Switch, and the Apple Arcade, so you can get it on Apple Arcade for free. Otherwise, it's $25. But what amazed me with it was the graphics are amazing, and it has voice acting for all of the characters. I've never played a simulation game like that. That it's just where there's a little maybe one sound like Disney Dreamlight has a little bit of sound, but it's mostly text, and you have to
Yeah.
read everything. This is has the words that you can read, but every character has a voice actor, which was amazing considering the game came out a year ago, and I was like, I didn't even know about it. And I'm like, I've never seen that. Otherwise, off stream, I've been playing a lot of Wolfenstein: The New Order since it was on. It went to the PlayStation subscription stuff.
Yeah, I've seen you stream it that one on Twitch.
Yeah, so I keep my more family friendly, whether it's I don't want to just say Disney content because I'm trying to do other things, but the family friendly stuff is going to be YouTube, where I'm obviously that's more successful, and the more violent stuff that I did in the past, I'm going to show up to Twitch because I want to keep Twitch active, for some things, and considering how easy it is to just stream from the PlayStation, it's really not that complicated.
No, it's good to keep it sorted so that you have a public for each. And
Yeah,
it's good
because
once in a
there are
while
people
to.
that there are people that like the old style content that I used to do, the old the more rage a hall type stuff, and I'm like, well, y'all watch you can watch if you want that when I stream it on Twitch, you can watch it there.
Yeah, it's gotta get that frustration out.
Yeah, but I just really I like playing Wolfenstein. It's one of those that I would love for that whole franchise to just every one of them to be open world. But I just even though I played that game so many different times, it's still fun to go back and replay.
Nice. And we got Rude Eggs in the chat.
What's going on, Rudigs?
Good to see you, man. Dr. Vet Space Disney Man, show us what you got. Rick and Morty Giant Head, show us what you got. Oh man, that was a good show.
I
I need to
appreciate
catch
it.
up.
I feel like everybody has recently enjoyed the happy vet instead of violent angry vet.
Yeah, it's good to see you happy, man.
It's gotten me back into enjoying gaming. That was the biggest thing that with the change the style of gameplay that I was doing. And I
Uh,
think the community, the change in scenery with the community that shows up now has also helped.
yeah, that's good to see you.
Winky mushroom. Look, that's if I could use that kind of a thing everywhere, I probably would. I unfortunately it's only on Discord.
Okay. As for myself, I've been playing mostly Horizon Forbidden West Burning
Still
Shores.
such a gorgeous game.
I've shared some screenshot earlier. It's like I just logged in quickly, played a little bit, and got some pretty decent screenshots. Oh,
It amazes me that game how that game just looks so freaking stunning.
the
That
details, the
and
sand.
the, oh man, they just go on if you want to see it in how it really looked like. Looking at it on the stream is one thing, but go to Doc's Twitter page and look at it. It's it's on a whole nother level.
And that's a lantern right there with the beautiful plants there. And I just thought that shot is so gorgeous. So that's one of the things. That game takes me a while to play because I have to stop. Sometimes I don't even take a shot. I stop playing, I put a photo mode, move the camera around, look at some stuff, and I'm not even taking pictures. I'm just looking because it's so damn gorgeous. And like the details on that is crazy. And that is I won't explain what it is because that's a bit of a big bit in the story, but the shot is so majestic.
Yeah.
But yeah, that game is flippin' gorgeous. And you see like all the details,
God,
like the
even with the
letter.
wave, if you look behind her with the waves, with as that wave is coming crashing in, you can see the detail. with it. It is absolutely stunning.
Yeah, and I was playing with the camera near a wave, and it can see like the algae at the bottom of the water, and moving the camera, you can see the refraction of the water that it's deforming. It's
Man, that is
crazy.
unbelievable.
So with that DLC and Digital, I'll try to find it. Digital Foundry did a review of the DLC. They don't usually do that. They'll do it like if there's major changes, and for this one, it's like, okay, last year Horizon Forbidden West was the winner for Game of the Year in terms of graphic. This year, this DLC is ahead of the pack. Like it's a step up for the game. Purple bats on Twitch.
Oh my god.
So, I'll just looking for it. Just to show what they've been saying. Yeah, so Eurogamer. Yeah, so basically that's the what did it say on well, Digital Foundry on Burning Shores? Is that
Yeah.
because I know they write with a Eurogamer, but okay, yeah, from Digital Foundry. Okay. A new world built to maximize in-flight beauty with stunning clouds, terrain, and towns. I haven't played too much with the flying in that game yet. Burning Shores, I know it looks gorgeous.
They need to like create something that allows you just for photos.
Well,
like
yeah,
they,
you have a photo
they,
mode.
I know, like I want a whole thing dedicated to just photos. In I would love them to like put together a game or like a world where you could have your own house and then you could take photos that you've taken in other games and frame them. Like an
Oh, that's what
updated
you mean.
version of
So,
like
like,
a PlayStation Home.
yeah, PlayStation Home, the little metaverse where you feature your screenshots.
Dude, that would be so freaking sick if I could do that. Like, I don't even care about what the avatar would look like. If you give me a crappy apartment, as long as I have enough wall space to showcase the photos, oh man, that would be awesome. Yeah, or Google Photos or PlayStation Photos, something like that. That would be amazing.
Yeah, neat idea. So yeah, Horizon Forbidden West is one of the best looking games of this generation. In fact, won best graphic in our awards last year, with abundant foliage, beautiful lighting, stunning environment details. So they're talking about last year how it was, but the
Yeah,
Burning Shores DLC looks poised to be even more spectacular. A rework cloud rendering system alongside PS5 exclusivity promises graphical enhancement above and beyond the base game experience. And then they go into the details of how good it looks,
yeah.
and yeah, all modes can employ dynamic resolution scaling to hit their frame rate target, but the impact of the image quality is subtle and performance is rock solid. So that's very good. Uh, like there's some screenshots here, like the
Look
clouds
at yeah, you can
in
see the
Horizon Forbidden
difference.
West and in Burning Shores, because that's the thing. Forbidden West, the clouds are a 2D animation in the sky. In Burning Shores, it's a 3D volumetric thing, and it's got like the ray tracing. Basically, the light will go through and seep on the side. It's
And
like
look at
the water
the difference.
droplets will have an impact
Yeah.
on how the light diffuses. So that's why you see like that shining cloud there, like that it's bleeding on the
Yeah.
sides. It's crazy.
Man, it is just I mean, it's night and day difference almost with the just looking at this from Forbidden West to Burning
The night
Shores.
sky.
Yeah, Rudigs. That Horizon Forbidden West DLC wins Best Kiss.
Yeah, I haven't made it to that part yet, but I will kiss the girl. Personal choice. So yeah, it's just sincerely like the graphics of the game, the details, everything is phenomenal. So they go much more in details about like technical like the features, how they're employed and everything. But it's worth the experience. Like they've really done so. They outdid themselves. It's the Decima engine, and what's great is the improvements they're doing to the engine, like the clouds they added, the module for the
Yeah,
clouds. They're adding modules over time to make the engine work better. And Death Stranding 2 that's coming by Hideo Kojima, which is one of the most anticipated game out there, is made
yeah,
using that same engine with Decima. And
nice.
they also have multiple games coming, mostly service games that are coming this year that are made using Decima. So they've
Yeah,
already confirmed they want to use Decima as much as possible because it is their big engine that they have at their disposal that's killing it, basically. So it rivals and most of the time beat Unreal Engine 5. That's how epic that engine is. And we
yeah.
know the Unreal Engine 5 is like
Oh yeah.
top notch. So definitely PlayStation is something in their hands
So
there.
I
That's
shared a thing. It might have been yesterday. It was tied to the Unreal Engine, and it was it's not real place. Well, I guess technically, if you go way back, it still ties into PlayStation. But it was somebody took Mario Super Mario and created a Mario game based off of if Nintendo were to use the Unreal Engine 5.
oh
And
yeah,
the fireballs and watching stuff blow up, I was like, good God, that I mean, if you could do, I was like, how much? Here's all my credit cards and my money. Take everything. Would you like my dog too? I will give you whatever for that because it looked amazing. I was just blown away with it, with
yeah,
how well that thing looked.
yeah. Definitely, there could be some work to do. We know Nintendo like to stick with their simple formula.
Yeah, it's
They do
unfortunate,
their
but
like they keep to their values, which is
but I say it's unfortunate, but it really isn't because it doesn't matter. No matter what they do, doesn't matter. You know, they could come out with a next a Switch 2.2 that would have some minor upgrades, and you're still going to buy it, and you're still going to buy the games. And I could, you know, we could critique those games, but we're still buying them because it's Nintendo, and it like they're so established in the gaming world. It doesn't matter what they do; they know that their player base that they've established since the '80s is always going to buy their products. They don't have to worry about battling it out with, you know, the console wars and all that other stuff that goes on in the gaming world because they kind of have that Apple ecosystem concept going for them, and I think that's actually helped them has helped them in the long run, and that's why they've been so successful compared. And I'm not saying Sony isn't, but I'm just Sony still has to go back and forth with Xbox, and and they went back and forth with Sega back in the day, but Nintendo never really had to do that because they kind of just have that little enclosed gaming ecosystem that they're in, and it's benefited them up except for a few minor tweaks that they've had to do like
they
the
have a
the
they,
Wii U.
they have a good creative team that's generally good
Yeah,
at figuring out what the players want, what their fan base wants,
yeah, I do
and
gotta give them credit that they do listen.
they've never been stressed out by like the graphics and all of that. So
I
they
think their player base doesn't care about the
they
as much
don't.
as I don't, graphics matter, but for Nintendo fans and Nintendo, they don't. That's not something that they're not the hardcore gamers. They don't look at that. That's like an Xbox and a PlayStation and a PC thing. That's not a what I would say is the other.
Hey, we got Teresa in the
Teresa, I am
chat
no, I am not putting
putting
down
down
Nintendo.
Nintendo.
I am defending Nintendo by saying that is why they have been so successful and they've been around since the late '70s, early '80s when they established their gaming dominance, and that's why nobody can match them in the gaming industry because that gaming ecosystem bubble that they're in is what benefits them.
And we're
And I almost want to say if Sony and Nintendo or Sony and Xbox tried to mimic something like that, it might work, but I don't think it is because of just the style and the way that they do things. I don't know if anybody can match that.
it's more defined for a public of its own,
I'm putting my foot in my mouth.
not a hardcore
Yeah,
gamer. Yeah, it's how
I
can
will
I say?
say Zelda is difficult. I never beat that game. I gave up.
I've
I
ne-
held my head in shame because I could not beat that Breath of the Wild. I got to a part where I got stuck, and I dare I say, I rage quit on that one. One of my
weirdest
few Nintendo rage quits.
weirdest thing. Zelda games, I generally like to try them, but I can't get into them.
God, Rudix. Sorry.
Nintendo knows how to switch. My kid has Xbox and PlayStation, and well, she now plays PlayStation. It's yeah.
Well, speaking of PlayStation stuff, they do have uh, for those that like the F1 racing games. I never got into those because I like arcade racing. I don't like realistic that you have to rewind and it's because I'm not very good and I don't remember F1 the F1 franchise is always I've been always leery mostly because it's EA Sports and I'm not a big fan of EA. But I did see that here that EA Sports F1 23 is bringing back dramatic story mode Breaking Point on the PlayStation 5 and the PS4. Still amazes me that they put out stuff for PS4,
Yeah,
but
I
they're
think.
doing a full reveal for it is planned for May 3rd.
Hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see how that one does. It says the return of Breaking Point allows players to immerse themselves in a racing story, which provides a unique look at F1 alongside the authentic race features our players know and love. Blah blah blah. Our close relationship with the teams has allowed us to refine our handling model, adding greater realism to pad play and implementing a new color encoding system used in film and TV creates a more true to life experience. Actually, that's pretty good. They've improved vehicle physics, providing a greater balance between aerodynamics and tire grip, results in a more realistic feel, and it claims that a new controller technology named Precision Drive will give pad players better control and confidence in crucial race moments. Precision Drive. Why does it sound familiar?
Hmm.
Is that in the new? Is that in the newer PlayStation controllers, or is that something that's with the PS5? I don't know anything
Precision
about that.
Drive.
Yeah, I don't know that unless that's an EA thing. I might have to look about that, but it's cool. I like story mode things. Like I like the
No,
games that incorporate that story mode stuff.
it's fun. Like a lot of sports game actually
My
integrated that
sound is in
together.
and
Yeah,
out.
yeah. Your sound seems to like the
Hold
volume
on, let me
going up
change.
and down all the
Let me
time.
change
It's
my
weird.
mic. Hold on. Audio. Let's change it to the MacBook. Okay, that might be better.
Oh,
Yeah,
Dylan won't be
because
able
I'm
to come into
upstairs,
chat. No worries, man. I understand.
stuck with the kids for the night. Well, just put them on. Put a handheld device in front of them. That's what I do with mine. Give them sugar. It's another option. Load them up on sugar. Let them go through that fast sugar rush, and then they crash. Put
That's
Disney
healthy.
on, dude. Disney solves everything. Well, I mean, for the most part, make them watching Kanto or Frozen.
On repeat, repeatedly. Yep, done that with the kids.
Dude, just give them YouTube. My kid will watch hours and hours of Donald Duck cartoons from the old school Donald Duck cartoons. I don't. I think it's. Is it really? Did I fix it? I should have fixed it. I changed it to the MacBook's mic.
At the moment, it sounds good.
Okay. She could be trolling me. Teresa could be trolling me because she thought I was making fun of Nintendo. So I'm not 100% sure now.
Well, Nintendo is its own market, so it's not the
Yeah.
hardcore graphics, but it's creative games that make their public happy. My kids would crash at 3 a.m.
Oh, okay. Well, that would backfire then.
Yup. Uh, so Rudik
I
says
only
I
had.
could
I only
see
pulled up
that.
a few. I only
Hmm?
pulled up a few. I said I only pulled up a few notes that I came up with. It was mostly just like that the F1 that I came across, and then the PS5, the upcoming games for May and June. Um, but I know there's way more because we've been sharing them on Twitter.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about a bunch of stuff.
There's too
Uh,
much stuff. I can't keep up with the news anymore. I'm gonna have to hire an assistant to help me. Maybe a chat robot, a robot AI or something.
so in the news, Well, we can do like I know we're PlayStation, and I know some people don't like when we talk about Xbox, but there's still some very relevant news that's going on.
We are
Uh,
missing one person that is, how do I put it? One of our
Disgruntled.
members of one of our miscreants that normally joins us is more of the, I don't want to say NC-17. I'd put him like a high PG-13, mostly R-rated for some on occasion. I'd say it averages out to PG-13 with language, and then there was last week where it was just a straight up R-rated show. Um, but he's not here, so Doc and I are more kind of like the Nintendo side, and he was just straight. Maybe he didn't have enough tea. I should have given some Earl Grey with a shot of whiskey. That might have helped out.
So Teresa's asking, so this is a PlayStation's awesome podcast. Yeah, that's
Yes.
pretty much what we are. And Dylan's okay. Dylan wants to bring in Redfall. Redfall is out now. It's out early, which is nice of Microsoft to do. Is it early though? It was planned to be released around this time, but
Is
the
it out
thing
now?
people are supposed to be able to play right now. I know all day people were able to change their address to New Zealand, rated R due to language.
Yeah, yeah. I was
the
trying to be nice about it.
the other day I've even put on a disclaimer, vulgar
Yeah,
language possible.
I used to be like that, but I think after playing so much Disney and some of these other calming games, I just don't have it in me anymore. Like I sat back last week. I said that was one of the quietest I've ever been. I said because he took over for me, and I'm just kind of like, I don't think it's out yet. I heard 8 o'clock, 8 p.m. Eastern. It was supposed to be out tonight, but I don't. I wonder if it got pushed back a tad.
Yeah, it's supposed to release in 2 hours. Well, I'll show my screen. So this is the Metacritic for PC. It's also an Xbox Series X.
And
Same
it
rating.
So he said it launched at 5 p.m. PST. Maybe it must not be on PC then, because I can't even. It's not even showing up in the Xbox thing.
It was planned to come out tomorrow. Yeah, it's at the end of the day today. That
Okay.
but so as of an hour ago.
I see, and I've seen the reviews. I've read. Well, I should say I've read the reviews. I've seen some of the trailer gameplay and all of this. And until I see somebody actually playing it, I don't take reviews very seriously. I mean, I do as a a podcaster, content player, and all of that. I take it into account, but I don't let it. I don't let it factor my judgment because somebody critiquing it that works for 9 to 5 Google, whatever, doesn't matter. Could have woken up on the wrong side of the bed, had a bad day, got a flat tire, any number of things, and just ripped. And that was the game that first popped up, and that's the game that's going to get destroyed in a review. But I need to see somebody actually physically playing the game, and then I can make my decision. I'm
I
not
know.
going to get it, but
I know that I've seen some footage and I was not impressed. And
yeah, I mean,
there's
I've seen a little bit here and there. I don't even have. I have Game Pass. I resubscribed. I added it to my credit card that's for subscriptions only. So I mean, yeah, I took a lot of work building this backdrop. I mean, it was. I had to do electrical work. Brought in a dresser to make it look more homey like. I think that's the word. I don't know.
Rudy said I don't even have a Game Pass. I don't either, so I won't be playing Redfall.
I mean,
I
I have Game
was
Pass. I don't think I'll play it though.
I was looking forward to eventually once Starfield comes out, eventually to get like maybe 2 or 3 months of Game Pass and go through like Hi-Fi Rush, Redfall, Starfield, and look at a few of the titles just for a short duration.
Yeah.
But it looks like Redfall I might skip because I didn't like what I saw. And it's like even like just to show if you don't know who Destin Legary is, he's one of the guys that's always defending Xbox no matter what, and it's like we rarely see him say anything negative about Xbox, and him coming out with that statement, I've played enough Redfall to tell you it's a bad game, brain dead AI, empty world, buggy tech issues,
Yeah.
and that does reflect the gameplay that I've seen. So
Have you seen any of the game, anything about or heard anything about this game called The Invincible? I've
the
seen The Invincible. It's a sci-fi thriller that'll be coming to PlayStation 5 later this year. I'd heard something about it, so I had to look it up. But apparently, it's a story-driven sci-fi adventure title based on the Polish novel of the same name, and apparently 10 minutes of raw gameplay surfaced online by like apparently accident or whatever. So, and I haven't watched it. I didn't know if anybody in either in chat that enjoys PlayStation or any of that has know about that game. Like Dylan, I figured would is all things all the all knowing PlayStation guy should know about that possibly.
I'm looking at it right now.
Oofed. Rudix just dropped the mic on that one. Okay, so Dylan said, yeah, the Invincible looks pretty cool. Here, I'll post it in the link I've
So
got.
this is the same team, same Arcane team that made Prey, not Dishonored. Wonder what development issues they could have had in between. So Redfall may be 60 FPS by the time Starfield comes out next year.
Yeah, that was.
Ouch.
I know, and Rudix is supposed to be nice, aren't you? He's from Canada. Aren't you guys supposed to be nice? That wasn't very nice, like.
So there's a gameplay demo that dropped.
Yeah, they said it was 10 minutes raw gameplay, like so it's actual like that, and that's usually what you want to see in a game. You don't want the trailer, you want the actual gameplay because that's what showcases it. But it looks interesting. I gotta say, even on the stream, it looks pretty darn good.
Well, this is using OBS and not Melon, so quality is
Yeah,
better.
yeah. See, the story things I'm always leery on, but if everything else lines up, I mean, I would try this. This looks pretty cool. I'd have to probably do off stream and then share. Actually, I might be able to see here. Watch on YouTube. Okay, so
some type of puzzle exploration, basically.
yeah, puzzles are not my strong point. Everybody knows that about me. But here, I'm going to post a link in the chat. Well, if I could learn to spell. Okay, for those that want to, if you guys want to check out this trailer, or watch the whole thing, the full trailer, the link is in the chat. You guys can check it out. That effect with opening up that little plastic bubble thing was pretty cool.
Certainly intriguing.
Only way I'm gonna get a PlayStation if someone gifts it to me. Going to get a gaming PC first, but PlayStation graphics are very awesome. Yeah, I haven't even played enough games to really showcase the graphic. Well, I guess Chia was one of those that could show it, but I didn't buy like Horizon Forbidden West or no Zero, whichever the second one. There are certain games that Dr. Spaceman has streamed that if you tune into his streams, you will see the raw power of the PlayStation 5 graphics.
Yeah, like
And
this one I was showing earlier.
Yeah, the screenshots showcase it better than anything else. And also, I will say this while he's doing that, if you use, let's say you use Microsoft Edge, the browser, one of the later updates that they had was this nifty thing that actually enhances the graphics. It like gives you like a super resolution, which is fantastic. And yeah, Dylan's blown away. Look at the sand. I was like, I know, I'm like, it is crazy with the level of detail that they put into this game, and this stuff doesn't get talked about.
Like the knitting of that lantern, like the rope around.
It's that detail, but the problem, and I'd say the problem with why this stuff gets downplayed is because of the drama that current drama I would say is with the Activision stuff is kind of sidestepping everybody from focusing on what we love, and that's games. What's going on, Port John? Teresa, I don't play all those games, so it's not worth. Right, right. I had The Sims on PlayStation, but that is a PC, that is a computer game. I tried to play The Sims 4 on the PlayStation, and it is not. It's playable, but I guess I just can't. I need a mouse and keyboard for that. Plus, if I'm playing The Sims, I got to make sure that I can use the cheat code to get unlimited money.
So what's up, John? Good to see you, man. So it's for anyone like we all get our platform that we truly enjoy. We'll all have that favorite platform.
Yeah.
For me, in my case, it's PlayStation, and PlayStation's doing really well right now. It's really sad to see the state in which Xbox is at the moment. So yeah, I showed earlier
And
like
don't
the
get like we all crack jokes with Xbox. I mean, I have been known to crack some jokes on Xbox behalf on Twitter, but I loved the OG Xbox. I had a love-hate relationship with the 360. Red Ring of Death kind of gave me that one. The then the Xbox One, I love that. I had the was it the One X? Was that the high end one at the time? I don't know. There's been so many different letters and vowels that they use. I had the Series S. I never had the Series X, but at the time I just didn't use the Series S enough to warrant keeping it, so I got rid of it. And then my wife said I could have a PS5, and
so
then the rest is history.
here's something. That video was from the reveal that Xbox did quite a while ago. And that video actually looks good.
I know. So what happened from the video to the gameplay? Like I don't understand what went wrong.
Teresa's asking, Doctor, are you from Canada? Yeah, I'm currently in Atlantic Canada. So, originally from a province of Quebec. Yeah, I'm a French Canadian.
Yeah, Teresa. A lot of my gaming friends are from Canada for some reason. I don't. I have some American ones, but a lot of the ones that you'll see me talking with are on podcasts, or are either from England or Canada. So apparently, I just don't have a whole lot of the American ones prior to getting into the Disney community and stuff like that.
So, here's a theory I've had for a while, and I know I've talked about this and I got some hate for that. And some people have come around to maybe agreeing with what I said. That footage, I think, is captured on a PS5. The reason is, at first, Microsoft said there was never planned for a PlayStation version of this game, that it's always been Xbox. Then, a bit after, one of the dev openly admitted there was a PlayStation 5 version of that game. And we know how well PlayStation 5 do on PC. They struggle. So when a game is developed for the PlayStation 5 because of the way the console is designed, with the Kraken compressor that's hard built into the chip, they have free access to the memory. It's the transfer speed for accessing the memory on the SSD is crazy ridiculous. I don't have the numbers, but it's really fast.
Yeah.
So they're actually able to eliminate a lot of overhead in the memory. So you got your RAM on your computer, for example, that you want more RAM so that if you're running a game that's pretty intensive and a lot of section like graphic and all that, it'll dump some of the asset in the RAM and freely access it. It's like if there's a lot of element going on the screen and all of that. And generally, they're able to keep games optimized so that it takes like 8 gig of RAM and you're fine for playing. But most of the games that are originally designed for PlayStation 5 come out to PC, and the recommended RAM is 32 gigabyte.
Yeah.
And even then, a lot of games struggle. So they really have to do a lot of optimization when bringing them to PC. It doesn't even work. And I've got a theory why they're still bringing the games to PC. It relates to the cloud. but for now they're still bringing them to PC, and there's a bit of a struggle because the PlayStation 5 has a very peculiar infrastructure, the architecture in the console, and it doesn't translate well when bringing that to other platforms because it's the only platform that has those features built that way. Y'all have a good stream ahead of the bed. See you around, Teresa. Thanks for coming around.
See you, Teresa.
So I have a lot of Australian gamer friends. Just catching up to the chat real quick.
Yeah.
Gameplay
So
footage they showed after the delay was announced last year looked absolutely incredible. Then it got worse and worse and worse from there. So yeah, what I think happened, because we know that PS5 games porting to other platforms doesn't work well. Ghostwire Tokyo from Tengu Gameworks looks stellar on the PS5. They brought it to Xbox. From day one, it was a disaster. It didn't look good. They all kind of frame drop and all. And they had to patch it a few times, and it's still not as good. So I think Redfall was a PS5 exclusive in development, and when Microsoft bought Bethesda, they stepped into the studio and said, "No, you're bringing that to Xbox and PC, and that's it." They pretty much had to downgrade everything to try to make it work. They needed to make delays. They remove a lot of gameplay elements because if I bring that back,
Dude,
there's a lot more happening in the environment that we're seeing right now than you see in the gameplay footage. It's like,
somebody on Twitter said that they're going to play Vampire Survivor on Game Pass in 4K at 60 FPS and pretend it's Redfall. I was like, ouch.
That works.
But they're not wrong though. Like, I understand, like me personally, this would be a game I would love to play it and stream it on Twitch, because it's that style that what sold me on it was the open world environment, and obviously shooting and blowing things up and all of that, and co-op. I mean, there were a lot of aspects to this game that I was sold on, and I would have played it. But then I saw what it looked like, and I'm like, that's not what I was originally shown. I wasn't told it was going to look like this. And the problem that I have is that when you show things like that and then you don't respond afterwards, you show what it looks like, what we're watching right now, and then what we saw come out afterwards, but there's no communication. What happened? Why does it look this way versus that way? What changed to cause it to go downhill so fast? And that's all I want. That's the only thing. I just want to know why. Why can't you tell me why it looks this way?
So I think that was captured on PS5, and that's the problem.
Oh yeah, that.
It's a theory. I'm not saying it's a fact. I haven't found other than that dev who openly said it was a PS5 version, when Microsoft previously said no, there was never any plan to bring that game to PlayStation, which is kind of suspicious.
A massive game. You can't tell me that the way, knowing how Microsoft is in this current state, is we want our stuff. Does subscriptions? So I'm talking all across the board. They want everything: software, games, everything, everywhere. They want them on all platforms, as many platforms and places to play or buy things as possible. So there's no part of me that would believe, unless there's an ulterior motive, why you would pull a game from another platform knowing you're gonna make money. Like, are you don't want the money, or is there something else going on that this is why we're doing it? We're being a little, we're going to take this game off your platform because you're preventing us from getting this. And, it's the schoolyard stuff. Again, I think I'm in agreement with you that this probably was. And if it was pulled from PlayStation, it was because of the ABK stuff, and it's the schoolyard bickering back and forth thing again. And
well, that was
gamers too, though.
That was announced before the ABK stuff.
But
when they acquired Bethesda, their objective was to make Xbox exclusive games, even though they openly said to the CMA back then that it wasn't the goal.
Well,
it's Xbox.
Yeah, I know, and that's always been that's. I don't even want to say that that's an Xbox philosophy. That's a Microsoft philosophy, and that's the problem. But
Yeah,
Well,
Redfall
hey,
currently
but
has a 62% on Metacritic.
you know what? It's over 50%. That's what matters. It's glass half full. You know what game I'm actually looking forward to though? I'm actually torn because two of them I want and I don't know about. I thought I've been still wanting to get the Hogwarts Legacy, but without the multiplayer things. And at this point, I'm gonna probably just skip that one. But I want the Lego 2K drive that comes out this month.
Mm.
But I also want the Lord of the Rings Gollum that comes out this month. But then I am like, God damn it! Then I also want Street Fighter 6. I could pass on Diablo and Final Fantasy. Just that's just me. That's I know that's like everyone else in our
Yeah,
gaming community is
I'll be
gonna be.
taking time off work for Final Fantasy
I
16.
know. That's what I was gonna. I'm like, I won't play that, but I know everyone else will. And you'll see there'll be a split. I guarantee you there'll be a split. You'll have those that'll play Diablo 4, and then you'll have those that'll play Final Fantasy.
I'm thinking with skipping Diablo 4 because it's too close to the release of Final Fantasy 16, and I know I want to have time to fully enjoy it. And by the time I get Final Fantasy 16, I'll probably forget about Diablo 4. So eventually I might get Diablo 4, but not at first. And I'll give it some time. Dylan says I'll be waiting for Funko Fusion next year. That also looks pretty interesting.
There's too many games coming out now. Like I liked it. I hate to say it, but I'm like I liked it last year when there wasn't so many daggone choices. Like now there's too many choices, and I'm like I like that as I think of it as a positive, but I'm also like I can't compete with this because I don't know what to play anymore. Like those that I play offline, I'm like I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I want everything. So I'm looking through the list, and because if you go over to the Push Square, you can see all the upcoming games for through May and June. And May 19th, I may pick this one up because everybody loved watching me blow up a riding mower on Lawnmower Simulator, but they got Garden Simulator now. So like, let's see what chaos I can cause there. I'm
But
trying
yeah,
to see if
that
there's anything that Company of Heroes 3 Console Edition comes out May 30th on PS5. I will probably buy that because it's military related, and I love all things military related.
what if PlayStation comes out with SOCOM?
Oh my God! I would. I don't even care how much they charge. I'll buy it. If they came out with a SOCOM, I would just give them any amount of money that
SOCOM
they
service
charge.
game?
Dude, that would be freaking amazing. I missed that game. That was one of those that I used to love playing. Like I like the simulator games. I loved the Metal Gear Solid. Was that the one? Metal
Yeah.
Gear Solid 5 was my favorite out of that franchise. But SOCOM was just on a whole nother level in my opinion. And like I loved Company of Heroes and those kind too, but God, I miss the SOCOMs. I know, and I'm thinking there's people that probably miss what's that other one? Killzone? Is that the one?
Yeah, Killzone.
I don't know much. I tried it. It wasn't one that I could get into myself. I don't know why.
Killzone is made using Decima, the same engine than Horizon.
Yeah.
So
I thought like Police Simulator and those were already on the consoles, but I guess not because Police Simulator comes to PlayStation 5 June 2nd. I thought that was already on there. Power Wash Simulator comes out June 13th. Man, they're getting everything now. But I will say, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say Dylan mentioned Resistance as well, my favorite. I wish they did a remaster of the Resistance trilogy because they're on PS3, they're in the cloud, but PS3 in the cloud doesn't work well. So the PS3 games that are in the cloud, they look blurry. There's a lot of lag compared to when you jump in a PS4 game in the cloud. It looks crisp and no latency at all. It just works well. But the PS3 games in the cloud, they struggle. And it's sad because there's so many good PS3 games that they have on the subscription. But so I do wish that Insomniac goes around or another support studio, picks them up and then just re-release them remastered. That would be amazing.
Would you be okay with more remastered games?
I like a mix, like what they're currently doing right now. PlayStation, they're doing a
Yeah.
lot of remasters, especially of games that were on the PS3 because they were hard to salvage, and bring them up to date. Because the PS4
I mean,
games, they can just patch them and they're able to bring up the performance. But the PS3 needs to be rebuilt from the ground up. But I like how they're doing it right now, that they're remastering a few, releasing some original titles, remastering a few, like switching from one to the other. Because that's putting good classics up to date. And like I know The Last of Us, I haven't tried the remaster,
yeah.
but it's been well received.
So I did also pre-order. I pre-ordered my. This is my second game that I've actually pre-ordered on the PlayStation. Because I pre-ordered the Disney Dreamlight, or no, Speedstorm. I
Mm-hmm.
pre-ordered that, but I just also pre-ordered Friday. I think I pre-ordered, or whenever I got paid last. I got Crash Team Rumble Deluxe Edition pre-ordered. So
I don't know why I'm looking at that game and
I got it. It's Crash. That's the only reason. I don't even. I like. I have a. There's a small. There's a sliver down inside that worries me that it's not going to be the greatest. But I still. I love Crash to the point where I don't really. I can overlook all of that.
because it seems like it's a mini game that they made a full game out of it.
Yeah, and that one's kind. That's a weird one to do. Oh, a new Alien game. Oh my god, I can't afford my bank. I gotta have to start offering to dress up as more characters just so I can afford to buy all these games I want.
Dylan says I own The Last of Us on PS5, which is an absolutely beautiful game. And
Like
says
Crash Bash, yeah, dude, that was terrible.
hmm,
I just need more Crash Bandicoot games. I'd be okay if you give me some more. I just, but I had to. I can't say no to Crash, and I love that game so much. So I was just like, I got to do it.
I feel like Brian's listening and he's frustrated right now because we didn't rip enough in Redfall to his taste.
Oh, I know. That's why he's not commenting. We'll hear it in Twitter. We'll hear it in the Twitter DM later. We say, but look, we have to say we're the nice ones because you're in Canada, so you can't be really that mean. And I'm in Minnesota, which is essentially Canada's pants, as we've discussed this many a show before. So I can't be mean. I mean, I can in video games, but on podcasts, it's hard to be that way. So we just save all of that pent up rage hall for Brian when he's here.
Brian says I'm everywhere, lol.
I see. I knew he was. We have summoned him.
I was right. He was listening.
Yeah, see,
uh,
even Dylan. See, we can let those two. They would have had. They could have gone back, piggybacked, and gone back and forth on the Microsoft stuff.
was there, I would have ripped Microsoft a new one, would have been a rated R chat. I can say, like, we talked about that before. There needs to be change in management over at Xbox. Like, how long are they going to keep Phil Spencer in place? Like, there's no more avoiding it. He's not doing a good job. He either needs to step down or change things up and get someone in charge that will manage the studios, because the studios are left unmanaged and we can see what's going on. Look what Herman Hulse is doing at PlayStation. He's getting some wins. So that's all I can say. One's
Yeah.
not doing his job. The other one, I know the equivalent is Jim Ryan, but Jim Ryan got Herman Hulse to fill the boots of managing the studios. It's working well. And now they got Maggie Smith for development. So they're staffing up the basically the chain of command, or we can say at PlayStation, to generate success. And I haven't listened to the earning call, but last week there was the earning calls for PlayStation, and it looked great. and they're expecting to sell 25 million PS5 this fiscal year, which is totally insane. And they believe that they have what it takes. So they got Final Fantasy 16 during the summer. It'll be a big console seller. And they got Spider-Man 2. Final Fantasy 16 in June. Then they got Spider-Man 2 that should be around September approximately. So those two games alone will sell a lot of games, but I think they got something else planned to push the sales even further. And something that was talked about a lot is the service games. Right now, PlayStation has over 10 service games in production that they aim to have released them all by summer 2026, I believe, for all 10 of them. And apparently there's 5 of them coming this year. So apparently it was something mentioned during the earning call that when they were going over details. I haven't heard that part myself, but I saw someone who did comment that it was mentioned during the earnings call. So there would be 5 service games, first party developed by PlayStation, that should be releasing somewhere this year before April next year, which makes for a pretty busy schedule. So Brian's saying Microsoft is on crack. Phil is high as fuck in every interview. You gotta find a way to cope. Like, I don't know.
He's like purposely doing this, like my conspiracy theory that I had stated last 2 weeks in a row about the in cahoots with Phil from Google, formerly of Stadia, because I swear if you look at everything, I swear to God, it's like they're purposely trying to destroy Xbox.
Yeah, it's at this time he's just holding on to his job because
I'm almost like, but if I think of it that way and I take it a step further, then I'm like, well, if he's purposely trying to do it, somebody paid him to do this, and I'm like, all right, so if we go that, and then we take it a step further into the diving into the craziness, do we say it was Sony paying him, or is it Nintendo? Because Nintendo is the angel out of all of this because they're not involved; they're just ignoring everything. So, or is it some other nefarious? It could be Sega for all we know.
What I just can't is the narrative on Twitter
that
saying that PlayStation is doing horrible, and it's like Bloomberg sharing articles that PlayStation's not getting sales. They just beat records of the most consoles sold in a quarter. They're selling consoles like crazy. They're selling a lot of games. They got good numbers. Like, I don't think a gaming company ever had numbers like that. They're doing well. Console war. I know I'm console warring right now against Xbox, but I'm just looking at the facts right now that there is a problem. And I don't want Xbox to go. I want Xbox to compete with PlayStation and force PlayStation to bring me good games.
Well, the thing is, if the unfortunate happened and Xbox went away, that's bad for business, for gaming business in general, because that allows Sony to not have competition. I don't put Nintendo in competition with Sony because it's two very different types of gamers that they focus on, that both companies go after.
Nintendo is a monopoly.
Right. But the problem with it is if you lose Xbox, Sony's going to get complacent. They're going to get lazy. If they could. I don't know if they would. And I'm not saying that Xbox is going to go away, but I'm saying that could happen. It happened. We saw it happen with cloud gaming. When Stadia died, I said this was going to happen. That if Stadia went, the domino effect would happen. And either you're going to see just everything fall apart with cloud gaming, or you're going to see like just everything's going to go standstill. There's not going to be a need to push anything anymore, tech-wise or advancements. And the same would go along with the consoles. If Microsoft disappeared, who's Sony's competition at that point? What do they need to do? Who's going to push them to make them, advance gaming and the technology and everything with PlayStation, with gaming in general? If they don't have competition, why do they need to? They can take their time. Look what happened with PlayStation Cloud Gaming. the only reason that they actually had to step it up was because of Stadia, and it forced everybody. It changed the narrative. You take these pieces out of the gaming industry, it changes the narrative and affects everything.
So Engadget published a review.
Oh,
Good enough for Game Pass.
so they're saying it's good enough to be a free game to play, basically. Damn.
That's not good.
No, it's not. But and it just came out like is and that's one of their in-house studios, right? That's not like that's one that should be good, right? Am I
Yeah,
correct? Okay.
it's Arcane. It's the team that did Prey, I believe.
So
So
one would think that they should be able to produce an extremely good game. And if the reviews end up being accurate, that's not a good sign when you're so focused on let's get this Activision deal done, but look what it's doing. Because you could easily turn around and say, well, this is why it's not doing good because you're so focused on this thing that it's affecting your entire company, the whole every department of Xbox because look at what they're producing now.
yeah, and on the other hand, PlayStation's getting more and more talent. So we talked about Firewalk Studio already. There was also devs from different studios that are joining in. I just saw earlier. I don't know when it happened. I know it's a few months ago, but someone from Obsidian, sound designer, is now at Santa Monica and actually just got a promotion today as one of the lead sound designer for the team. So you have tons of people leaving from Microsoft's side, and like Brian said in the chat, the 18-month contract, it is a problem, and there's a lot of very good talent leaving Microsoft and leaving other game company, all migrating to PlayStation because PlayStation values their talent. They value the devs that are working with them, and they give them great conditions, and people are flocking to them. A while ago, it was a problem. Herman Holtz was brought in. He looked at all the studios to make sure good leadership is in place. I know Media Molecule was having some problem, even though people love that studio because they make wholesome games. But there was a bit of a problem in management with that studio. There was just recently in the last few weeks some movement, and they might be doing more changes as to what kind of game that studio will do in the future. But they're managing it, making sure that it's a good work environment, that people are learning stuff, have different opportunities. And something else that I found out, anyone at PlayStation Studios, basically if you're working on a game and there's another game being developed by another studio, and like you're not into like a big intensive phase of production, studios will help each other produce games. So you can be at Insomniac and help out another studio that's doing another game, like if you got one of the studio like Fire Sprite, for example, that apparently is doing a Twisted Metal game, and you want to help him out while you're at Insomniac, well, you can log in with them and give him some support, try to find some stuff that's not working, and it vary your skills. So you have great employees with great skill sets. So that brings an interesting element. So speaking of Twisted Metal,
Oh, I am so stoked for that one.
I'll put on the official teaser.
Oh my god, I am so like I've heard mixed from people like that are not sure about it. But one, I want to know why JD didn't tell us he's starting in this. Because I swear to God, if you didn't know JD, I swear that looks just like him. So I already messaged him. I'm like, JD, why you not tell us that you were in this movie? Why? I know you were Team Sony, but you didn't tell us you were this deep into Team Sony. But come on. I mean,
I'll get a takedown for putting the music on.
oh, I know, but I would be like, I don't even care. Like the nostalgia alone
Because they go in
is.
and make a mix of the music that was playing back then when those games were coming out, like beginning of the year 2000, end of
I'm
90s.
so like that. I don't care for clowns, but you know this is gonna be good.
Well, you like that's the Sweet Tooth character. He's played
Oh
by
yeah,
Samoa Joe, big wrestler,
yeah.
and the voice is Will Arnett, the same guy who does Lego Batman. So should be interesting. I'm really psyched for that show, but if that show's coming out in July, I believe there's a game that's going to come out around the same time frame. Twisted Metal game. Like they can't be releasing a TV show without the game being around. So and that's one game I'm psyched for. Like when they finally release that, it's been rumored for a while that they've been producing it. So should be a decent amount of fun. So I don't know if you were playing those games back in the days.
I used to play the shit out of all of them. I think that was like one of the first. Like I loved racing games, but Twisted Metal was probably one of the first games that I played on the original. That I just it was so different that I had such a blast playing it. And I need like I know they got the show, but with the show I need a new one now. I need a new game to go along with it.
Something
But
else.
if
Yep.
they did a new game though, you gotta have like I'd be okay with new music, but I have to have some of the original stuff included. It would be a requirement, an automatic requirement.
Well, there'll be the nostalgia element, but one thing that was very interesting in the earnings, like they talked about, okay, they're going to sell 25 million consoles. One thing they mentioned is they're expecting their game sales to go down this year, even though the platform will be more popular. And that to me indicates one thing. They got several of those service games, so like apparently it's five that they're supposed to release this year. But if they're expecting game sales to go down with a bunch of titles coming out like that, it's going to be free to play titles, at least on the subscription, which will be pretty interesting because you get. That's one of the things. If you get a title like that free to play, especially for a multiplayer game, you get a big player base installment on day one, which is what you want. So
Yeah, it will definitely be one to keep an eye on. Between that and I'm like, I like. I'd read another article that I was reading on Push Square, which was I thought was saying that $70 games could be hurting the PlayStation 5 and PS4 sales, but there's more to the story. I didn't read all of the article, but I'm like, it opened up with saying that we're coming up on PlayStation 5's third birthday, and I was like, I had to pause for a moment. I was like, wait, has it been that long? It's been out already?
oh yeah, we're pretty advanced at that gen
I was
already.
like, I was like, oh yeah, Doc and JD were hounding me for like the last 2 years to get one. And I kept saying, I'll get it one of these days.
Dylan says I just got mine last year.
Yeah, I can't believe it's been 3 years already. Like that's
That's
crazy. And like at this point, like I know the $70 is like a pain, but I'm like, aren't we all basically?
it's hurting all right,
I was
hurting their
waiting.
back from carrying this gen. It's one thing I was gonna say. That's why Xbox doesn't have an excuse anymore. We're no longer at the beginning of that gen. PlayStation already has plenty of game that takes fully advantage of the PS5. Plenty of game that feature that like really showcase it.
So
Xbox has what 2, 3 games, and some of them's like okay, Forza Horizon. It doesn't have much that's showing the power of the Xbox. So no more excuses. Like they need the games, and we're still not getting it today. So, but PS5 definitely solid titles on there. Solid
yeah,
performance across the board on third-party games.
Well,
So
they were saying, I was looking up the stats and everything, and there was one of the tweets I came across. It said, so in terms of volume, game unit sales are lower than last year, which I mean that's that can go up and down. Doesn't matter for anybody. But they said for the same year, and this tweet came out on the 28th of April. But Sony made $6.367 billion in revenue from combined physical and digital software sales. That's higher than last year, but not much lower than fiscal year 20, which was the previous record for overall PlayStation revenue. Like, that's ridiculous. $6.3 billion in physical and digital software. I mean, I know I helped a little bit with, some of the games that I bought, but it's crazy. So they sold 264.2 million combined PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 games last year, down 39 million. Game unit sales, but they were saying there was something I read where it was it like the so PlayStation hardware and software has been generating record-breaking revenue for Sony, but in terms of actual units sold, sales are down. Well, that's because you had other issues, but good God, man, everybody's already got everything. I think if they stopped making PS4 games and just focused on PS5, then you would get people buying them, more of them.
they have to support the older console though, because
Yeah, I
there's
know.
some countries where it'll take a while for people to adopt the PS5. For
Yeah,
example, when the PS4 was out, they were still releasing PS2 games and they were still selling.
I mean, that's the thing though. Like, and I say it's a bad thing. Like, yeah, I would love to see them just focus on the PS5, but if you think about it, look, they're still raking in money from PS4. I mean, if they probably are raking in money in other places from PS3 games, the nostalgia is still a thing, and people still go out of their way to find them old games.
I like how Brian is writing stuff in the chat and retracting. I don't know if it's a bot deleting it automatically, but it's still showing on screens. Like,
Nice.
Xbox features, the power button to turn the shit off. The best they got, Starfield, maybe Hellblade 2. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I
to
can't
be
believe I'm
fair,
wasting
for
80 gigabyte for dog shit. Can't till I try it.
yeah, they like. I wonder who's been removing it. Maybe Xbox got it. I will say though that we may not have to talk about this much longer since the UK's buyout block forbids Microsoft from trying again for 10 more years.
Yeah, so Xbox got their own 10-year deal.
That's the best one out of all of this.
Yeah. So for
Well, I
10
mean,
years, they can't attempt anymore to buy
so
Activision Blizzard
yeah, so
unless there's a
basically the
major change.
final report was it was 900 plus pages was the official thread. And essentially on page 339 under article 11.29 of the final report, it read prohibition would be affected by accepting undertakings under section 82 of the act or making an order under section 84 of the act prohibiting the merger and preventing the parties from attempting to merge for a further period. Our normal practice would be to prevent a future merger between the parties for the next 10 years, absent a change of circumstances. So, bullying tactics, typical American business tactics, don't, you should realize now that that doesn't usually work well in your
No,
favor when
don't
you're
do that in the
targeting
UK.
countries and, you're bullying, CMAs and people like that and saying, well, we'll just take our business to the European Union instead. Things like that, threats like that don't seem to work out. And now you got a nice
It's
10-year deal for yourselves.
the moment that the deal got refused, the comments that were made by Microsoft, Activision, and like Lulu Chang, whoever she is, the comment I saw from their
Dude, they
post,
were.
I was like, okay, this is unprofessional. It is way too aggressive. That's not a way to collaborate if they want to like have any chances of reversing that. And I was already getting like gaslit over on Twitter, and people like, I
Oh
don't
yeah,
know,
you were
it's
just
normal, it's business, how it's how we Americans do business. Well, it's
yeah,
how
but
you Americans get blocked from doing business with certain countries. You don't act like that wherever you want. And it's like I was getting people like trying to shush me on this.
But
And
it's not even. It's like even Facebook dealt with the same thing. They try to do the same stuff. Well, we'll just do this and that. Because I remember back with the whole, there was an issue with Facebook threatening Australia and several other businesses down there and saying, well, we'll just take Facebook out completely and ban it completely from Australia. And you know what happened? Their stock tanked. They lost billions because of that statement. And then they retracted and said, we're sorry, let's work a deal out. Let's make a deal. Um, and unfortunately, Microsoft said, "Well, we'll do all this," and now they're reaping the benefits of their bullying tactics. And that they got no one else to blame. At least, though, they got their own 10-year deal. I mean, they were handing them out to everyone else. So, and I get the EU still has to make a decision, but I honestly don't think it's going to go in their favor.
whatever decision they make, it won't change the CMA. CMA is an independent agency. The government can tell them whatever they want.
Well, yeah, I was
Actually, the
talking.
government did do something. They provided them power to uh, give any corporation a fine if they
So,
don't, and it's for up to 10% turnover, which is a lot of money.
well, I will say, like, if you guys are interested, or anybody out there that is interested in the details of like the CMA and the on from a UK perspective, get a hold of Duncan, message Duncan, or at 12 Escape, because I chatted with him about this, trying to just get his opinions on it. Since he's in the UK, he would have a better idea than me posting a tweet on Twitter and getting probably attacked by every Twitter keyboard warrior out there, which, to be honest, I'm surprised I didn't do, because I do like to start things every now and then. But I didn't go that route. Um, but I don't have to, I'm not going to read everything that he was filling me in on this. But he said essentially the CMA is independent. It really is. They do not have any political or business interference is not tolerated. Like, they are what the in the U.S. what we say independent or special counsel, as the U.S. government likes to say, that's still influenced by. It's not supposed to be influenced by outside sources, and we all know it is in the U.S. The CMA is not influenced by that. They don't put up with that crap.
There is transparency to how they do business. They have
Ah,
to
they are
deliver a report and justify every single thing that they put in there. So you can try to sway them any way you want. If for them it doesn't make sense, they can't basically defend a point of view, they can't
yeah.
adopt that. Every single thing they put in the report has to be backed by facts and is looked at by peers because it's a whole council. And if some peers pick up on something and disagree, they have to come out with a proper solution. So trying to sway them by bribing them or whatever, that won't pass because they have to justify their decision, and it's open to the public. Whereas in North America and Canada is the same, a lot of decisions like that are taken and the public never hears any details about what the decision was made, what's justifying that decision. So the CMA has made a verdict. Yes, there's ways of going for an appeal, but it's going to take a long time, and the appeal is
I,
not going to give the result that Microsoft wants.
yeah, I mean, like I said, speaking with Duncan and a few others, the majority of what I've gotten is that there's between a 5 to 10% chance that it goes through. Not completely dead, but no chance. But a very slim, and almost all of, if you look at the analysis outside of everybody pushing that Xbox is the going to be the winner in all of this. It's a sad state, and I don't know what's going to happen after after
It's
this.
it's something we talked last week with Purple Haze. She was very good at
Oh yeah,
detailing that.
yeah,
That 5 to 10% is for an appeal to be done. Like if they find something that was not done proper in the whole investigation, they can appeal that and reverse
yeah.
the decision. But reversing the decision is not switching, taking the decision and switching it aside. It's to remove the decision, correct the data that was false
Yep.
and have them regather all the documentation, do a new assessment of the market, look at the facts, and take a new decision from the data they have, which might end
It's
up being exactly the same
yeah,
and
it's
will
it's essentially
likely.
starting over, tweaking it a bit to factor whatever changes need to be, and starting all over from the beginning again.
Yeah, and
Um,
the
but
CMA was not on a split 50-50. It wasn't at a toss of a coin. They were going to refuse it, and they chose to do it for the cloud gaming instead of console because for them it was much more relevant to do this because that one is an emerging market while the console is kind of going out the door slowly. It's
yeah,
going to take a few years, but that's why they felt like there was too big of a risk of creating a monopoly that would make it difficult for competition to emerge in the future. And that's one thing that people didn't understand, that they were talking about something that could happen in the future, like basically speculative companies that could be coming. That is 100% the CMA's mandate. They have to look at, okay, what if someone in the future wants to join that field? Like if they want to get into cloud gaming, and I'm not talking about GeForce Now or Boosteroid. I'm talking in the style of PlayStation, Luna. If someone wants to have their own store, not bring their own game, their own store, they want to sell games that you can play in the cloud, like Stadia was. What is their chances of even having a chance of going through in the market? Well, if Xbox gets Call of Duty, gets Diablo, gets like Activision Blizzard, it gives them too much of a big leverage that anyone who tries basically has no chance.
yeah.
And that's why all the 10 years deal that were made to GFN and Booster, and I know I've made some people angry on Twitter, and I don't even care if you're angry at me. I don't
I
give.
mean, but the thing is, if we don't say this stuff, and we know this is how it works, if we don't say things like this, we're no different than every other podcast out there. Yeah, guess what? The truth hurts sometimes. You gotta suck it up and just accept it. We're not always gonna be right. We're not gonna just tell you what you want to hear. And any of those that have watched any of our content, especially the podcast, even Cloud Nation, we said this about Stadia, and guess what? It's the same thing. We're going through the same shit we dealt with Stadia when we made our statements about that as we are right now. And you know what? In the end, if we're right, everyone's gonna be, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You guys were right. We should have listened to you." And we'll probably brush it on the rug. But I'm just like, it gets old after a while listening to everybody. And I don't know. They will find out when we end up being right again, as we always are. Just don't come back and say, "I'm sorry, we should have listened to you," because my response will be way nicer than Brian's response.
Brian, they can eat shit, deleted that, but it's still showing, and went for the I gotcha duck.
That's why I said it that way. I tried to end it where I was going to be all nice. I wanted to make it like, "Oh, damn, Bet's going to be mean." No,
I
I'm
like
not.
how my chat feature captures everything in the chat, and if you delete it, it still stays there.
YouTube's like, "Nah, bro, we can't have that."
So
YouTube's gonna, like, "No,
just
we're
to
not
go
allowing
back on
that."
some stuff that was in the chat, the guys were talking like, oh, yeah, the PS2 was supported until 2013, 7 year into the PS3 life cycle. YouTube doesn't like my vulgar language. Can't crap on Xbox. Okay, it's YouTube deleting that. Interesting. And PS2 stopped production when The Last of Us launched on PS3. Here's the last title that released on the PS2. Pro Evolution Soccer 2014 on September. November 8th, 2013. So that's pretty late
Yeah.
for a PS2 title. So that was Pro Evolution Soccer. which was basically exactly the same as the previous year, except for the roster. And they were transparent about that. I remember when it came out, people were like, "What?" It was like Konami themselves came out and said, "Yeah, it's the same as Pro Evolution Soccer 2013, but out of respect because that game is still popular in certain countries. I believe it was mostly Brazil back then. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
that they still wanted the PS2 version, so they just took PS 2013 and updated the roster, and it's like no added feature. It'll be exactly the same game as the year before, except for the roster, and it did sell. So just to settle like when it was that the last PS2 game sold, so it sold for a long time after the console, like the PS3 was out, and I think the PS4 was either about to come out or was already out. PS4 release date. Just gonna put that to rest. Okay, so the game came out on November 8, 2013, and the PS4 came out November 15, 2013. So there you have it. 1 week before the PS4 came out, it was a PS2 a game that came out. So Brazil was the home of bootleg discs. They sell a game dirt cheap. By the way, I appreciate that. I got you, Duck. So yeah, I like doing the podcast. I like having viewers, but when I have something to say like that, I try not to filter for pleasing people. I'm sorry if it offend anyone. When I see something and I feel like it needs to be said, I will say it.
I mean, and yes, but sometimes you gotta speak up.
The last
I
time
mean,
I held back something and that I didn't want to offend people too much and I didn't talk about it on the podcast was when I thought that, well, there was some other stuff after, but that Redfall was a PS5 exclusive that was forced on Xbox. And I know Brian was pissed at me when I said that in the DMs, and now he kind of agrees with what I said back then. But yeah, it's like I look at the gaming market and the movement that's going on, and I like to make some analysis, make some scenarios. Like, okay, this is what's going on. I think that's gonna end up, and like, I like to predict where things are moving, and I look at a lot of data to do that.
yeah.
So
Well, and if we're always one side, and I get, yeah, it's PlayStation podcast and all, but when there's limited PlayStation news, you still got to focus on the regular news. And sometimes what we say isn't gonna appease everyone, and get over it. Guess what? That's what the news is. We're if you find a news station that can actually do that, then you stick with it because most of the time you're gonna find whether it's a podcast, it's a news site, it's a gaming news site, doesn't matter. They're going to be focused, they're going to have biased people on there. Whereas
obviously,
here, you're not going to have that. You're going to have Doc, who's PlayStation, JD's PlayStation, Vet's a gamer, Brian hates everyone, and, and Dylan is kind of the same.
but
Well,
it's like
I'm the
obviously
kind
if
of
you look at
creative
my
guy.
surroundings, I've got some PlayStation stuff behind me that like some my wife made, some I got as a gift and all that. But I'm obviously biased PlayStation. But if you look at my content, I did Stadia, I did GeForce Now, I did some Xbox. And it's like I've explored all platforms, and it's like some of them I
But
really enjoyed. Then I move on when I feel like there's something going
But you
not so right.
look at the gaming community. Look at everybody that, and we know this better than anybody. Look at everybody that was Team Stadia and all this, and look where are they now?
Nah, Run, I'm
Almost.
not touching your black nuts.
We'll leave that for Ray. I love you, buddy. But no, you look at when Stadia shut down. Where did everyone run to? They didn't go to GFN. You had some that went to PlayStation, but almost everyone jumped on the Xbox bandwagon like it was the greatest thing since sliced bread. And I'm not saying that everybody turned converted into Xbox fanboys. and preached Xbox 100 this and that, and it's the greatest console, and you can't mouth it up. But there's some that did, and, and they just don't want to hear anything that's negative about anything that against Xbox. And I'm like, it's this is Stadia all over again.
Yeah,
If
but
you say
the thing
anything negative about
is,
Stadia, you're shunned. And we're seeing this all over again with Xbox. When we say bad things about Xbox, we're the bad guys and we have to be shunned by the community. Like with the bells and everything, they have essentially shunned us. Oh, you want the
again, the
Wii U?
chat
Oh, I'm so
feature
sorry for
is
your loss.
massive. Like Brian got deleted, but we see it on the screen. Like, yo, I
Dude,
want to
that's when
read
you
it out
know you've
loud.
hit prime time, though. That is when YouTube intervenes and removes comments. That is when you know you've hit the big time. You are an official legend at that. You're at legend status when YouTube has to intervene. Like I've never even had that happen, and I say a lot of things. Told people to pull their head out of Google's butt one time, all the Stadia fans, and Ray almost quit, and Doc I think sent me to the back room in timeout for that statement. But I was
That
heated
one,
at the
I was
moment.
like, okay, calm down a bit, but not that much though.
No, but I have occasionally gotten on the Brian level of calling people out, but I've gotten to a point where I just don't care anymore. I mean, I don't call everyone out. I subtly do it like a ninja, or I
Mhm.
make memes about it, which are funny.
But just to come back to basically going around all platforms, like PlayStation for me is the one platform that I won't say it has been perfect all the whole time. Like I had a PS5 a while ago. I sold it for specific reasons that really was particular for me because I wanted to play in 1440. Because I like my 1440p monitor and I like lower latency, good quality. It's a bunch of stuff which, if you want in a 4K panel, you're gonna have to spend big time. While 1440p, all the same features are much more affordable. And the PS5 didn't support 1440 back then. Now it does. So they fixed a bunch of stuff, and back then also during the PS4 gen, there was some stuff I didn't like about PlayStation, and it happened to be when Sean Layden was in tenure and didn't really like him. Jim Ryan replaced him, and since the PlayStation has been doing really well, made a lot of good calls in my opinion, and so that's why like PlayStation for me now is a safe value. They're really in good direction. When it was going not as well, it's like just a little bit, but it was still going well.
Oh,
As for other, hmm?
sorry. I see his messages, like not physically in the chat, but I see him in the square. I just noticed that was showing up on the square.
Oh, and now you noticed.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just noticed because he had this really long, drawn out one saying "f that." I'll
Oh
say what I
yeah.
want when I want.
I'll Callie, Mr. Payment, whatever it is. Okay, yeah.
That's
Hates
fantastic.
everything Sony. Don't know if I spelled his name right. Yeah, yeah. I think you did for.
That is fantastic.
Yeah. I just noticed that last entry.
I know. I was like, has it always been? Oh no, it has. I'm looking up. Yeah, it is in there. So YouTube freaking removed his comments that aren't nice. They're letting him type the nice comments and show up in the physical chat, but on our screen and the little square on the stream, you can see everything Brian's been saying.
Yeah,
I
it's
was like,
the
because I was
chat
like, man, he's
unfiltered is on the screen.
we got you, Google. Sorry, I just noticed that was hilarious. I don't know why I found it so funny.
Hmm. But yeah, generally like platforms have ups and downs, and I've noticed a lot of downs in certain platforms. When Stadia, when things went south, you all know what I did. Was playing a Jedi Fallen Order and realized like Stadia wasn't going back up, so kind of ditched it. Was on GFN for a while. A lot of good stuff on there. lately they've been struggling getting the good games that people want, but still feel like it's not the end for them. They were still getting some good games. Uh, Xbox though, it's a struggle. It's a real struggle at Xbox. Meanwhile, PlayStation is killing it. So yeah, I've migrated from platform to platform, and I don't know if if I'll ever have
I
to
mean,
leave
I've done the
PlayStation
same.
behind because
I've jumped. I've been on every platform as well. So I mean, that's it's just it's part of gaming. You go to platform until you find what you love the most, what you like the most, and once you're there, just stay there.
mm-hmm.
Or you could be like me and pay for everything and just subscribe to it all and use it all. I
uh,
can't afford to do. I mean, I can, but it's kind of bankrupting me. Thankfully, I'm getting paid by YouTube, so it's covering the damage.
but yeah, it really shows a repercussion of how bad Microsoft fumbled on the Xbox One. The effects still felt today. They still have to play catch up 2 generation later.
That's
They
so
messed
sad.
up bad.
That is so sad that they're like the only benefit that they have over and I'm going to say Sega is that they're still making consoles and Sega's not. That's the only I think that's really what separates the two because they're on the same path of destruction like the Xbox One how it kind of just almost crippled them and they're on life support at this point. It's that's the only thing. Sega just didn't have the ability to come out with something else, another hardware device, console to save them. And I think if they had, they might still be here, possibly. I don't know.
And JD just sent something in our private chat here.
Sorry
That's
guys, I
Ryan
couldn't make it
McCaffrey.
tonight.
So Ryan McCaffrey, we all know who he is. He's a big Xbox content creator. It's been for a long time for IGN. Still at IGN. So and Xbox podcast host. And it's like the Xbox 360 glory days were long enough ago now that there's an entire generation of gamers who weren't even alive for
Ooh,
we're too
Dylan.
young for it. It's never
Dylan's
been
got a
cool.
good question too.
So just gonna finish this. Never been
Yeah,
cool
go ahead.
to them like it was to us. If you're Microsoft, that's a really big problem to overcome. Only A+ games can fix it. And back then, Xbox 360 were using the PlayStation philosophy for running their platform. They were buying exclusive. They were solid.
Yeah, dude, I'm not gonna lie. The 360 era was like that's what really sold me into Xbox. I mean, I had the OG, don't get me wrong, but the 360 was like on another level when it what really brought me into gaming. That's what got me into the online gameplay with the Game Pass and Xbox Live Gold and all of that and multiplayers. That's I made a lot of friends that way and it was just I haven't seen anything since then. I'm sad.
It was the one time Xbox competed against PlayStation. They were winning for a long time until Jack Tretton saved PlayStation, and after that, it's just been disappointment one after the other.
Yeah.
So Dylan is asking, "It's May, gentlemen. PS Showcase, perhaps?" Yes, it's about time.
I what do you think? Do you think? What do you think? Like, if they do a showcase, obviously it'll be gameplay. What do we think for game? Like, I'm gonna take a shot in the dark and say probably Final Fantasy 16. We'll
Demo,
see something finalized because what is it
playable
comes
demo.
out? Yeah, because that comes out this month or next month, right?
Next
Next month.
month, it's on June
So I'm gonna
22nd.
yeah, something like that. So I'm guessing we'll see more a solid playable demo of maybe Final Fantasy 16, Street Fighter 6, maybe something more to that. Maybe I would like to see something more from the Lego thing, or at least that we may not be able to because I think that comes out soon. But maybe the Lord of the Rings game, and then surprise me with something else, like maybe a new Spyro or a new SOCOM, or something like
I th-
that.
I think what's gonna happen, it's gonna be towards the end of May, probably. So right now, okay, if I'm looking, I want to say around maybe it's gonna be either the 18th or the 25th. I think. I get a feeling it might be the 18th that they're gonna do this. So it's not gonna be third party. So the Lego games and all that, I don't feel is gonna be part of that show. Third party, the closest, and it's still a first party, and people might find it weird I call it like that.
Oh,
It's
yep,
Final Fantasy
agreed.
16. Final
Yeah.
Fantasy 16 will definitely be featured and have a playable demo available. And I say first party because it's made with XDev. They're highly involved. It's a PlayStation production. It's a Square Enix game, but it's a PlayStation
Ooh,
production. They're publishing it. They're highly involved in the production of the game.
Dylan
But
dropping some good names for games that he wants to
mhm.
see. I mean,
Yeah, no, the
Spider-Man 2, I agree with that. That will, that will be there. Maybe another little snippet of Wolverine. I'd be cool with that. Give me some, even if it's just let him turn around and we see his face, or in the shadow, but we see the cigar. I'm okay with that.
yeah, Spider-Man 2 definitely will make a
I can't
show
wait
on
for
that.
that game. I will be streaming that game from
Oh
start to
yeah,
finish.
that'll be pure glory when it comes out.
Oh my god! Could you
If
imagine multiplayer on that too? Oh,
if they manage co-op, that would be
dude,
crazy.
that would.
But Spider-Man 2 will be the next generation step up. It's coming out
Yeah,
this year, probably around September, and it's the next big step up in gaming that we're waiting for.
I think
We
that one's going to be the one that takes advantage of everything that the PlayStation 5 can throw at you. Like
Insomniac
that
has been
that
doing
will
that
be
with
the one game that, like what we saw with what was it, Ratchet and Clank with that rifting
Rift
thing that
Apart.
you showed. Yeah, but I think this will be the next step to that, and it's just going to blow everybody's minds at that point.
And as a thing, they can use that for mixing things up. Imagine a level you're playing and it's like all the Spider Verse going on. Like, okay, there's a dimension shift, and during the game, you shift into the Spider Man into the Spider Verse universe, like the movies, with the movie art style translated in the game. And then they can do another shift where you're face to face, like with Toby Maguire in a photorealistic scene that's just a short amount of time because it's going to take a lot of asset. Like they can do some stuff like that, have fun with it. It's like, okay, what's going on right now? And they're meeting different Spider-Mans with a total visual style shift. That would really kill it if they do something like
Yeah.
that. But yeah, definitely Spider-Man 2, I believe, will be the biggest jump we've seen in a while in terms of, okay, that's now the groundwork of what a great game looks like. So, like it was back when the first Spider Man came out and Miles
Yeah.
Morales pushed it,
Dude,
Spider Man
Miles
2 is going to
Morales was
push it.
fantastic. I mean, yeah, yes, I would have loved it to be longer, but I kind of had a feeling that it was kind of like any other Marvel thing that they do. When you watch a Marvel movie, at the end it's just setting it up for another movie. And I kind of could see the way that the ending of Miles Morales was, that it was setting up, because I played the first one and I did not look at any trailers. I didn't watch any playthrough of Spider-Man Miles Morales, so I had no idea that it interconnected,
Hmm.
which is why I believe that Spider-Man 2 is going to do the exact same thing.
Yeah, if you finish the DLC of the first Spider Man, he goes into another country. I don't remember the name to
Yeah.
assist Silver Sable.
Yep.
That's where he is during Miles Morales, and that's why you're playing Miles. Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's the way that they like, even for a short game, what I would consider, and I agree that it is short, but the way that they connected the two, everything was tied together, because the way that towards the end of Spider-Man and it picks right up at the beginning, it all ties together, and I'm like, dude, this is phenomenal. Like, that's one thing I love about those games and Insomniac doing it, because I'm just like, I love the storyline. Story games always have a place in my heart, and those were just on a whole nother level. And I can't wait to play Spider-Man 2 for from start to finish, and then be sad that it's over.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, JD, stop. JD, I know you're watching. Enough with your Team Pixel nonsense. It's Team Apple, bro. Come on, join us. Join Team
Oh, there was
Apple.
actually Dylan that shared that in the chat. Just I saw JD share the Team Pixel stuff, but yeah, it's not him in the chat.
Yeah, JD's all Google fan. Ugh.
And
Out
Brian's
that film
complaining
lot.
about the Redfall graphic are
I,
looking worse than PS2.
dude, I mean, I've got a buddy of mine that has a 40 RTX 4090 with a 10th gen and i7 or I mean an i10 Intel processor, but he's also got it running 4K with DLSS and frame gen on. Gotta say, it still doesn't look that good. I'm not gonna knock his stream because his streams are effing amazing all the time, but this game, I'm just like,
Just gonna share some gameplay someone posted on Twitter. So gonna remove the sound. But just look at that. That's horrible.
I know. I know. I'm trying to like. I'm watching gameplay and I'm like, let me see. There's got to be something that makes this game like be like this badass that everybody says, and I'm just like, I don't see it. Like, dude, I'm looking at the water and like a live.
Just look at the takedown, the epic takedown.
Yeah, it's super epic. Oh, that was so epic. Do you know what? Do y'all remember Watchdog Legions when they had that zombie add-on?
They
The
make
DLC?
mobile games that look better than that.
I know, but you remember Watchdog Legions, the zombie thing that they had? That looked more realistic. Now, granted, it's Ubisoft, so you know, if Ubisoft had come out and made Redfall, dude, it would have been, I guarantee, a AAA all the way. It would have looked gorgeous. Good lord! Like I'm watching someone live stream this at 4K with DLSS and the frame gen, all that fancy Nvidia shit. And then he gets near water, and I'm like, I can't even tell if that's water. Like, Sea of Thieves looks better with the water, and that's animated. I like.
But
This
anyway,
is what I wanted to see to make a determination to say yes. You know, maybe everybody's blowing it out of proportion, and I'm sorry to burst everyone's bubble, but I am in agreement that this game looks like shit.
it's not
Excuse my
good.
language, but I'm watching as I watch somebody stream it and watch our podcast at the same time and chat and watch a few others. That Redfall was an absolute red fail. Microsoft, go slap yourself, roll up a newspaper and hit whoever made that shit and just hit him in the head because that shit was awful. Oh, so bad.
Yeah, disappointed.
I'm gonna need to go get my eye drops because I can't see straight now.
But just to come back to, we were talking about a showcase and our expectations.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
Spider-Man 2 definitely. Final Fantasy 16, I'm expecting an announcement of a playable demo to come out like as soon as the showcase finishes. Wait, Project Storm is playing Redfall on PC and it looks good. Okay.
Who said that in the chat?
That's Ron Slusher.
Well, Ron, remember that Project Storm is not like normal streamers. Project Storm, I don't even think he's real. I think he's AI because his technology and everything that he has available, most people don't have. So I don't believe that he's a real person. I think he's artificial intelligence. He's literally like Data from Star Trek and has way more power than he should. Because and I agree, it does. Most of it does look good. I'm picking, and when I said the water looks terrible, I had his stream pulled up to verify that. Like the water, if you've got such a badass game, the water, when you look at the water, you look at the ground, you look at certain features, it should look spotless. It should look realistic. And this don't. Like his stream overall looks great, but I don't like that it's. I don't know what the word is. Brian, finish it up for me. Take over for me. Damn it, I need him
No,
here. When I
the
start
game.
speaking the smart stuff, I need
I've
Brian to
I've
fill in
seen
what I can't.
too much footage that shows the game is not going well. That's not looking good.
I know, that's why I wanted him here to voice
Brian
what I
says
can't say.
otherwise.
Brian, we need you. I don't know how to speak anymore. It's been so long.
Brian says game is ass. Yeah,
Sorry.
and it's pulled from YouTube. It's only on the screen.
Sorry, I pulled up his. Oh, you ended it? Oh, come on. You should have kept streaming it. I was going to make a. I had an awesome comment for your stream. Oh, man. He closed it. That's so sad. It looked so amazing.
Oh, he's streaming right now.
He was, unless it disappeared on me. Maybe Twitch banned me. See, that's what. Okay, thankfully he said it in our private little chit chat. But the water, yeah, movement's clunky, game is terrible, water is awful. Yeah, and I'm paraphrasing, folks, because like some of the words would elevate our stream to a different rating.
Yeah, that's very cartoony and.
You know what it reminds me of for the style? Far Cry. And I like. Don't get me wrong. I like Far Cry, but you got to admit that Far Cry has more of a cartoony feel than a realistic feel. That's what this reminds me of.
Kinda.
I mean, just there are aspects of it that make it kind of look like that. Now, obviously, the characters probably not, because Ubisoft did do a better job on the characters, but the environment is where I'm looking at. It kind of reminds me of that, which is quite sad and disappointing. I'm kind of saddened now. I was hoping for so much more. And now I guarantee you, now that it's playable, I watch everyone on Twitter, or everybody on Twitter is going to be, oh, see, there's what's so wrong with it? It's such a great game.
No physics on the dead bodies.
Oh, I need dead bodies that are twitching. So would you say that then, like, something like Dead Island 2 is a better option? If I wanted like a zombie minus the vampire aspect, I should go with Dead Island 2 then, because that looks more realistic.
He says that even the movement is clunky. Yeah, so back to my prediction. So we talked about Spider-Man 2. Silent Hill 2 is another good call. Remake would be a good one.
Yeah.
That's Night and Day. It's freaking awful. Something else I'm expecting is Death Stranding 2 from Hideo Kojima on good
I still
old
haven't played
Decima.
the first one.
Yeah, I need to play the first one as soon as I'm done with I got too many games to play and not enough gaming time. Something else that I'm expecting is Twisted Metal Factions. It's going to be a big one, and they have a lot to announce. They've been holding down for like 2 years now.
Look at the stream. All right, let me look at the stream. You should pull a stream up and show everyone what it looks like.
Yep. So, is that actually water? It looks like water from Minecraft.
Yeah, like, that's what I was saying.
That doesn't look good at all.
Damn. Look at that. That's awful, dude.
It's a slime. Look in front of the truck. Like it's freaking jello.
I know, like, this is terrible. Even the cars look stupid. Oh, you can't break you can't break nothing? Oh, that's so dumb. I was hoping for, like, like maybe Gran Turismo type cars.
Okay, it's some kind of magic water.
Why is the water frozen like that? Is that ice? Why is it not? I don't understand what's going on with the water like that. This looks so. I'm sorry, but this looks so stupid. This looks dumb. Why was this? Why was this hyped up? Oh,
Metal
oh,
Gear
Dylan, I would
Remake.
take. Dude, I would be okay with that.
I think PlayStation has a lot coming. So yeah, the Twisted Metal game
What the
factions, and
Sorry. I just look over at the screen and all I see is groin shots.
why?
I mean, not that that wouldn't be something I would do. I can't get past how dumb the cars look. Like as I'm watching, so I watched the trailers, I watched all of that stuff, and I was like, okay, maybe, meh, but this just looks stupid. Like I don't understand what the hype was. Where is the? Oh, this
It's
is
Game of
so
the
cool, and the
Year.
graphics are gonna be awesome, and it's gonna just put Xbox back up there, and this looks dumb. I'm sorry.
It was
Nobody
supposed to be
stacks.
Game of the Year.
Why are the cars stacked like that? That looks stupid, and they don't look realistic. The road, kind of, but the problem is the like that spot on the road where I don't understand this. What the hell is going on with the water there? That makes no sense to me. But look at the blood on the road. That to me, it looks like paint. It doesn't even look like blood. It looks like someone spilled ketchup or paint on the ground. This has got to be the dumbest game I've ever watched. Like this is terrible. I don't like. I mean, what do I say? I love to criticize games, but good God, man, I wouldn't even want this on Stadia. But it's oh my God, wait,
What?
what the hell was that? Did you break glass,
That looks like glass breaking in a Nintendo 64.
dude? What did they do? Steal some PlayStation 2 footage there? I don't know. I think the 60 N64 had better quality. Well, no, maybe not. That is terrible. Oh my God, that's horrid. I wouldn't even. I would cancel myself if I ever played this on my channel. Like this
Okay,
is awful,
I hate to say it, but anyone who's got an Xbox, sell it, buy a PS5.
dude. This is so bad on
Like,
so many levels. This is terrible.
this was one of the main featured game of the year for Xbox.
Even Project Storm. Somebody at. Oh shit! Hold on, I turned the volume up. Project Storm. Someone Ron was over there, of course. How do you like it? And he said it's average at best. And Storm loves these kind of games. So I take his comment. You know, if he says it's to
That's
me
what
by saying it's
Xbox
average.
does, punches my nuts. Oh, okay, that's what he was doing earlier.
Oh, okay,
And we
okay, that
couldn't
makes
see it
sense.
because the chat
So
deleted it.
he's saying average at best means it's probably it's garbage.
Storm says that?
Yeah, he said it was average at best. He needs to put some hours in it, but he said in his opinion it's average at best. That to me tells me that he's not impressed with it. And Project Storm has a high tolerance for tech. He's very astute to that kind of stuff. So I take his comment. When he says a game isn't like that because he likes to push the limits with technology, I kind of tend to believe it.
It looks horrible.
Yeah, I know. I could let some of these things slide, but dear God, once you punch the broken glass thing ruins every aspect of that game. Not to mention what the hell, that gun looks stupid. That looks like a toy gun from
That looks like
that,
a game from Team Fortress.
this is so bad.
It looks like a gun from Team Fortress.
Oh my God, I cannot wait to see how many people are going to be playing this and saying it's such a great game.
I'm sorry, but no. If you want good games, sell your Xbox, buy a PS5 because that's just plain horrible.
Dear God, I mean even the I played Wildflowers today. That water looked more realistic than what this game has, and that's Wildflowers is made by an indie dev or smaller dev. It's not made by someone like Microsoft who should know how to make games. Why
I
didn't
don't
they
know what's
borrow the
going
water
on.
from Sea of Thieves? Oh,
Like
so
I hate to make those kind of statements, but
I don't. I know Brian doesn't. Brian's probably in heaven. Brian is probably glad that he's not on the stream, only because he can play this and just laugh. Force Unleashed one had better glass physics. Dude, this
yeah,
is
it
so.
did.
This is. So, look at the blood. It doesn't even look like blood. Oh my god. This game
Okay.
is fucking. Yeah, I can't do anymore. I'm gonna have to go. Oh. God, that was horrible. Oh, I pity anybody that wanted to play that and looked forward to it. I'm so sorry for your loss.
It's really sad.
Go
Anyway,
go get like we said, go get you a PS5, and if you need something to rebound, okay, all
Outriders
right.
on Stadia looks better.
Do you know what? And honestly, if you no jokes aside, Outriders did look better on Stadia
Okay, he
than
was
that
in battle
pilot.
and the enemies. Okay, the gun disappeared. His feet are disappearing. The guy is like collapsing on himself. No AI at all. The guy was just
God.
standing there and pretending to want to shoot. Okay, the more I'm seeing, the worse it is. What happened, Arcane? It's mismanagement there.
Yeah,
It's
this was just like look at that. I don't even know what's going on. And I can't with this game.
it's like the more I'm seeing, the more it's no. Can't believe it.
It's so sad. Like I look forward to going live to or going to Twitch
Okay,
tonight,
look
Twitter, to see the reactions to this.
look at the
You know
enemy.
what? Here's a tweet. So a
And look
friend
at
of
the
ours
gun's gonna disappear. Okay, he's not looking at the gun anymore.
that's awful. So a friend of ours who likes to is Xbox, but he's also PlayStation. He's gone back and forth, but he's still a good guy. Mr. Bayer, and I know the community knows who that is. Said 40 minutes ago he shared some footage of this game and some images, and it's from the Xbox, mind you. Said this may be the worst game I've ever played. From ugly graphics, from a 2005 to 2008 era game, basic and lazy animations to absolutely dumb AI. This was after I shot her. Some of this will be from the clips and stuff if you go view it. Was after I shot her twice. She just moved to
Look
the
at
left
the
and couldn't
enemy.
see me. The dead zones are
Look
also terrible.
look at the battle. Look
I
at it.
know. This is so. I agree with Paul. Though this is like a game you should be playing. Like this is not a 2023 game. This is a game from 2005. This is so bad.
That
I would
looks like
rather
a game
play.
that was made over one weekend by a small indie team as a like, oh, you have a challenge. You have to make a game
There are
from scratch
games
over
that
a
are better
weekend.
than this. What was that one game that had potential? It was like a shooter game that we played before, but it had so many like the bots that were just ruining.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to remember the name.
I think it was a free to play game.
Yeah, it was from Ukraine. Yeah, I
Yeah,
can't
it was
remember the
just
name right now, but it
neither
looked
can I.
much
But
better than that.
yeah, this is such a like I totally agree. Like I'm starting to agree
Did you
with
see
the
the
review
flame? It was a
bombs.
spray.
This is just and folks, for the if you tune in afterwards, we're not making fun of Xbox or bashing them for this. We're just saying like they should not have released this game. This is like when Cyberpunk had all the issues and Sony pulled it off the store. Like Microsoft should have been like, "Oh man, we can't put this on here. This ain't for the
It should
like."
never
Maybe
have come
somebody
out.
forgot that this was not the Xbox OG, and you're putting it on a Series S and X because this should not have seen the light of day.
I hope that we get an explanation, and I really hope that they do come out and say, "Well, it was a PS5 exclusive, and the Xbox can't handle the overhead memory," because that's what it looks like. They dumbed down the game compared to the original trailer, like
Oh my!
crazy.
I feel that Twitter is going to rip this shit apart tomorrow. Like it's going to be the talk of Twitter tomorrow.
That's gonna
How
damage Xbox.
bad this is.
It's
This
gonna
is
damage
so
Xbox.
bad.
Look at that!
I know, it's so bad.
Holy hell!
I might hop off the stream and go to Twitch and crack some jokes because this is terrible.
What?
Phil Spencer's trending.
Phil Spencer
Ron,
needs
that's
a new
legitimate
job.
question. Ron actually put a legitimate question on there. How did this game get shipped like this on Xbox?
That
I don't
does.
know.
I should
I don't know how to
never.
answer that.
Exactly. I don't know. I don't know how to pass a QC.
Somebody royally effed up on it. Oh man, that's brutal.
And in my opinion, it's not necessarily the devs that are to blame, it's management.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I think we're going to wrap up the stream. It was a lot of fun. Thanks a lot, Vet, for joining in.
Yeah, no problem.
And thanks everyone in the chat. And sorry for the end. That's been not everyone likes when we talk about Xbox like that, but okay, it's bad.
Game testers. Well, Ron, you would think there are. Good Lord, man, somebody is not going to be a game tester anymore. For real.
No, it's just sad. So,
Oh.
on this, Vet, where can we find you?
You guys can find me VetGaming82 on Twitter or Vet-Gaming on YouTube. Occasionally, I'll do some streams on Twitch, VetGaming13. The only reason I got the weird numbers is because apparently Vet Gaming is taken by, I think, probably like the Department of Veteran Affairs gaming thing or something. I don't know. I tried to find it. It can't be done. So I went with that, but I do some like the Wolfenstein games like that are on Twitch. Everything else that's family-oriented, friendly content is going to be on YouTube. I'll probably be going live here later in like 15 minutes or so after this show. No streams tomorrow. Streaming Wednesday, nothing Thursday, and Friday I'll be doing who knows what. I'm sure I'll be doing some other oddball streams on. When I don't stream on YouTube, you'll probably catch me on Twitch doing like something that's not Wolfenstein or maybe who knows what I do. I'm trying to focus on a schedule, but it's a real killer trying to have a schedule and act like you have a real job. Man, it's brutal.
Not easy. All right. As for myself, I'll post whenever I go live, which is hard to predict with everything, but be sure to hit the bell to get a notification whenever I go live. So on this, thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. This is Sebastian, aka Dr. Spaceman, and Vet Gaming, wishing you a very good night.
Yep,
Bye-bye.
see you guys.